Hi guys, so another episode of Becflix. I love that name, by the way, so I have to thank Chase, my amazing friend from across the pond, for suggesting that one. So let's get some people on. So we are talking all about the winter blues because it's getting cold again. I really don't like the winter. So if you're the same as me and you kind of dread the cold days, the dark early mornings, the early dark nights, and the cold. Right, we've got some people in. Hi. Say hi as you're coming in. Let me know who's here, who's watching. Let's get some people in. I am not in cosplay tonight, guys, because I thought you would prefer to have just Becky Jane this week. Right, cool. Hi Brittany. So we're going to give it a couple of minutes. I'm going to grab my drink. I've really had, I'm not even going to say addiction because I love drinking Dr. Pepper, but I drink way too much of this stuff. So how is everybody doing this Friday? Let me know in the comments. Let's get some more people in. Let's get lots and lots and lots. Okay, 4 of you watching. Let's see who else. So say hi as you're coming in. Let me know how you're doing. We are talking the winter blues, the winter blah blahs, and just generally feeling like crap when the winter months roll in. Right, okay. Hi Zoe. This top does not want to stay up. So we're talking winter blues. Hi Heather, I saw you sneak in. Hi guys. So if you are watching me live, drop a hashtag live. If you are watching me on the replay, drop a hashtag replay. So winter blues, or the winter blah blahs. Thank you, Lisa. I didn't want to do a cosplay this week. I thought you could just have me all to yourselves. No cosplay, no characters. Hi. Thank you. So the winter blah blahs, I like to call them. So otherwise known as seasonal affective disorder. So many people actually struggle with this one and don't realise that it's seasonal affective disorder. It kind of comes in similarly to I'm fine, thank you, Zoe. It almost feels like depression, and that's essentially what it is. It's like a winter depression. It's kind of temporary. Hi Shirley. It has us feeling like absolute shit. But there are ways that we can combat it. But I also wanted to discuss how it also relates to OCD, obsessive thinking, negative thoughts, the thoughts that you just don't want. Hi Vicky. Thank you. So the first one is what's known as ecotherapy. I actually learnt there was a name for that. I've always been referring it to nature nurtures, but it actually has a name. It's called ecotherapy, and that's about just getting in the outdoors, getting into nature and appreciating that in the daylight hours. So when we can get outside, even though it's not summertime, even though it may not be sunny, there's still vitamin D there. Your body converts that, the UV rays converts it into vitamin D. But it's also really useful during the winter months. Even starting it now is taking a supplement daily maintenance dose of vitamin D as well, because we don't have the summertime anymore, and when the vitamin D levels drop quite low, it can actually mimic the symptoms of depression and anxiety. I didn't know that myself until after I'd had Rory, a couple of months after he was born. He was born in the July, and I went for a routine blood test, and they said my vitamin D levels were at 8, which is extremely low. So I had to go on vitamin D therapy, quite a high dose. I can't remember the actual name for it. It's like units. So I had to take vitamin D for a couple of months to get those levels back up, and I was feeling really crap. My joints were hurting, I was aching all the time, I felt really groggy, really fatigued, just really down in the dumps, and I didn't realise that it was because of the vitamin D. So it's always worth making sure that you take a daily maintenance dose of Vit D and get outside as much as you possibly can during the daylight hours. Now, the reason ecotherapy is amazing, especially for when you are, I'm on it still, yeah, some people need to continually take a higher dose, especially like myself as well, Zoe. I struggle to maintain a healthy level of vitamin D naturally, so I do have to take supplements. Hi Melanie. So the reason ecotherapy works, especially for those of us that are inside our head quite a lot, overthinking, all the negative thoughts, all the thoughts that we really just don't want, when we go out in therapy, it naturally reduces the anxiety because we're appreciating our surroundings, we're looking at stuff, all of the different colours, how it smells. Hi Louie. How nature smells, how it looks. You know, if you're like me and you love the autumn or fall, for any of you that are over across the pond, you'll love the colours of the leaves that come off the trees, all the, you know, I love autumn colours. So even just by focusing on them and taking in our surroundings, it naturally reduces the anxiety levels because we're not actually in our heads thinking. It is a known fact the brain cannot think of two things at once. So you can't be in your head overthinking and thinking how crap you feel, or, you know, worrying about different things and being stressed out about it and overthinking, because you're actually focusing on your environment. It's also great to get out in nature because it's great exercise, and exercise is one of the best forms of free therapy that you can get. So if you can't get therapy, you're on a waiting list, or you can't afford a therapist, if your insurance is not covering it, there are lots of great free resources out there that you can utilise. Your dress very autumny. I thought I would kind of match this with the makeup, so I was like, I don't always do matchy but sometimes it's cool. So yeah, there's lots of free therapy and resources out there that you can tap into that actually we pass them off as they won't work for me or they're not good enough. But when was the last time you tried it? When you was really stuck in your head? When was the last time that you just got up, got wrapped up, got a nice thick coat on, hat, gloves if you need them, and just went out for a walk in the woods? It didn't even have to be in the woods. It can be around your neighbourhood. It can be down the canal. It can be, we have some gorgeous canals down here, by the way, so those of you that live near me know that there's a beautiful footpath. So if there's places like that around a pond, around a park, wherever, just get yourself outdoors. Can I point out that those of a black mixed Asian background struggle to get vitamin D from the sun and need to take supplements to maintain those levels? Absolutely. And anyone with more melanin. And Zoe says, I mean, I'm on the B12 injection. Sorry, I wrote it wrong. Yeah, luckily I don't have to have those. The tablets are enough, but I'm sorry you have to have those. Thanks, Drew. Louis says, my mum has said, not sure if you mentioned this already as I come late, but I bought her a special UV light and it really helps. That is on my list. I have a list in front of me, by the way, because those that know me know I go off in tangents. I get so excited about what I want to talk about, and I want to talk about everything. So I actually have some notes. So the next one is to have a comfort kit. So for those of you that don't know what a comfort kit is, so it's a little bit like a toolkit. Sorry, lost connection. It's fine. There's a replay. So a comfort kit is a little bit like a toolkit that we have when we're working through OCD, working through anxiety or depression and things like that. A comfort kit is, do you know the moments where it's really cold and you've been out for the day and the first thing that you want to do is get in your jammies? You want to get undressed, get some really comfy, fluffy pyjamas on, put your dressing gown on and just snuggle up, some fluffy socks, some slippers, a hat, and it just instantly makes you feel so much better. It's so comforting. There's a reason for that, why we just want to feel that comfort and that warmth. and that is essentially what comfort kit is. So when you have been out, or you're feeling like crap, or the weather is really bringing you down, the dark mornings, the early nights, it's always good to have a comfort kit there. Your favourite movies, your favourite snacks, a snuggle blanket, your favourite pillow, some fluffy socks, slippers, dressing gown, no matter what it is, treat yourself to those. And in those days that you're just really struggling with the seasonal affective disorder, it's always great to take that comfort kit out to help you. It's almost like it's a hug kit. It's that thing that you can do for yourself. It is self-care. It's treating yourself with some TLC and some, you know, some tender loving care and just comforting yourself. So a comfort kit is essential for those days that you really feel like seasonal affective disorder is really taking its toll. That also goes for anxiety, depression, if you're struggling with OCD. Self-care is massively important. So if you're one of those, and I used to be the same, by the way, a couple of years ago, I brushed off self-care so much, and I never saw the importance of it, and I would just constantly be rushing around doing everything that I could possibly do within the daylight hours before it got to bedtime. I'd constantly be working, and actually one of the phrases people used to say is, just by listening to all the stuff that I get done in a day, it made them feel really tired. I was like, no, it's just me, I like to be busy. But actually it's because I wasn't taking time out for myself, I wasn't practicing self-care, and I just wasn't looking after myself. So it's no wonder that I was ending up with burnout at the end of the week, just really fatigued, not really wanting to get out of bed, not in a depressive kind of space, but just because I was so tired and I was so shattered, because I'd really just not been making myself a priority at all. So your comfort kit is that self-care. Self-care doesn't have to be boring. It is unique to you. It's the stuff that brings you comfort. It's the stuff that feels like you're giving yourself a hug. It's that self-love, and self-love is not selfish, it's not arrogant, it's the stuff that makes you feel better. You can even shove some hot chocolate in there, making me feel like a hot cup of cocoa. Exactly, it's a hug in a mug. So you can go and pick up your favourite sachets of hot chocolate. You can even go and treat yourself to that really expensive ruby hot chocolate that I've been hunting down for ages. You can even treat yourself to that for on those evenings where you can see the daylight is diminishing and it's starting to get darker, and you almost get really anxious and you think, I really don't like these dark nights. They make me feel terrible, I feel depressed, I feel down. You can treat yourself to those things to have, particularly in those moments, like Louise just said, it's like having a hot cup of cocoa that just makes you feel good. So, hi Claire, hi Chrissy, hi Emma, hi Paige, hi Anne-Marie. Another one is having some look forward to activities. These are also really important, because if you are sat there and you are getting really anxious about when it gets to night time, because we've not had as many daylight hours to do all the things that we enjoy doing, all of those distractions, all of those things that make us feel good, and the fact that we're in a pandemic as well, so we can't access all of those stuff that we enjoy doing. So it's easy to see why we get into a space of either procrastinating, not doing much, not having any energy to do anything, fatigue. And actually, did you know, by sitting around and doing nothing actually makes you feel more tired? So have you ever sat there and thought, why am I so tired? I haven't done anything. It's because you haven't done anything that we feel more fatigue. So even kind of thinking in a negative space, our body mirrors that with emotions. And when we're feeling emotions, that takes up a lot of energy, and that is why we're feeling fatigued. So have some look forward to activities. So when you've done the things you want to do in the daylight hours, and you know that the night time is coming, and if that normally fills you with with this low mood, with this anxiety, with not knowing what to do with yourself, hating the night time and just thinking, is it bedtime already? I want to go to sleep so it's tomorrow. Then having a specific activity that you do the moment it gets dark, when you've had your evening meal, if you've got kids and your kids have gone to bed, have a go-to activity that's just for those moments that you get out on an evening that you enjoy doing, and you'll be surprised how much time passes where you've actually been enjoying engaging in that activity, and it doesn't become boring because you're not doing it all the time, you're doing it at specific times, and actually you start falling into a really positive routine that actually you start looking forward to your evenings rather than dreading it. So you start looking forward to doing that activity, so it almost puts you in a positive space rather than a space where you kind of dread it. Hi Des! So always have a look forward to activity for those moments where you really struggle with the evenings and the night time. So another one that Louis mentioned was the UV light. So light therapy has been proven for seasonal affective disorder. However, not everybody has got the kind of funds to be able to go out there and buy a UV light. Yes, motion equals emotion, and inactivity is often correlated with low mood and sleepy state. Exactly. So if you want to change your state and the state that you're in, the space, get your feet moving, get some upbeat music on, get dancing around. If you've got kids, put on kids' nursery rhymes where they've got actions. I'm forever doing it with my tribe because of people know I've got 4. I'm very busy. I don't have time to be bored and sit around and do nothing except today. This is actually the first time I got dressed, so I've been in pyjamas all day, and that's okay too, by the way. If you don't get dressed, you can stay in your pajamas, there's nothing wrong with it. So yeah, not everybody has the money to go out and get a UV light or light therapy lamp like plug in, you sit in front of. There's also, I know there's Himalayan salt lamps that are supposed to be really good. They're supposed to absorb energy. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I don't have a Himalayan salt lamp. However, I do have a really good cost-effective alternative because, you know, we are in a pandemic. If you're on furlough or you've not been able to work, or because mental health has meant that you can't work or you can't cope with it, then funds are going to be really tight. And I've been in that place before, so I had to look at alternatives, things that I could do that would maybe not make as much as an impact as one of the seasonal affective disorder lamps that Louis mentioned, the UV light therapy lights, but I could have a look at a cheaper alternative that would maybe give me some benefits, so it was better than none. And you'll find, especially in stores in the UK, such as Home Bargains, B&M, you know, your kind of budget stores that sell everything, you'll find daylight bulbs, so LED daylight bulbs. If anybody has a ring light, they're almost like having a ring light plugged into your ceiling. And even when my curtains are closed at night time, it still feels like daytime because that daylight bulb is so bright. And actually it makes me feel better having it on because it still feels like it's daytime. That's not to say I don't have a good bedtime routine, by the way. The light does go off. But even during the day, rainy weather, if it's not really sunny, it can still feel quite dark, and that kind of influences that mood. It influences that space where you feel motivated to do something. So I think our daylight bulbs cost maybe £3 or £4 for one. And the daylight bulb that's in my living room was the first one that I bought, and it's been 1.5 years and it's still going strong. They're energy efficient as well, which is always a bonus. Louis says, I don't have a Himalayan salt lamp either, so can't share my experience, but the UV lamp has been amazing. They really are, because UV rays and stuff from lamps or from the sun when you're getting outside, it converts to vitamin D in your body, and that vitamin D, as I say, if your vitamin D levels are quite low, it's going to mimic the signs and symptoms of depression and anxiety, even though it may not be true depression and anxiety. If it's left untreated, or it's left where you're not going outside and you're not doing things to help boost that vitamin D, then it can progress into depression, and that's when it can become a bit of a challenge. Lavender. So anybody that's into their essential oils and scents and things, lavender is a natural calming, I want to say herb, but when it's in its fragrance oil. So make sure if you do go out and you're getting lavender essential oils, make sure that if you're wanting to put it on your skin, so you can put it on your pulse points, so on your wrist, just behind your ears, your temples. The scent of it, when we're breathing it in, it's naturally calming, it's naturally anxiety reducing. So make sure, like, go to places like Holland & Barrett, have a look online. There's is it doTERRA who do essential oils. So always make sure if you're going to go out and get lavender products, it is safe for the skin. You can also get wax melts, people who make wax melts with lavender essential oils. You can get lavender oil for your bath. So if part of your self-care routine is to get a really nice hot bubbly bath, have a look at, say, bath bombs that contain like chamomile and lavender, because those scents are naturally calming. I would say with lavender as well, it can make you a little bit sleepy because it is calming. So if you struggle at bedtime, for instance, you could have, say, a reed diffuser in your room, or you could burn a wax melt. Just obviously make sure you blow it out before you go to bed, so it creates that environment and gets you ready for going to bed, for going to sleep. Louis says, I love lavender, have it all over the place, both as a plant and as an essential oil, and it also repels mosquitoes, which is great for hot and humid Malta. Awesome, dual purpose. But lavender is gorgeous, and if anybody ever gets the opportunity to go walk into a lavender field, I know there are quite a number of lavender farms up here where you can actually go walking through a lavender field, and I would just, if I didn't have such a fear of bees, bumblebees, and I know they're cute and they're important, but I just can't deal with stings. So if I didn't have such a fear of that, I would actually go to a lavender field and just lay in it. Lavender and chamomile are great for calming and sleeping cold weather in diffusers. Exactly, it smells lush. So there are loads of ways. If you're not into essential oils, have a look at the products that you like using. So that can be moisturisers, bath bombs, bubble bath, reed diffusers, wax melts, air fresheners, like the natural ones, not just your, don't go in the supermarket and buy Airwick lavender, because that's just, it's a scent, it's not actually got the essential oil in it, it has to be. And lavender's actually edible, so you can make lavender water or lavender lemonade and you can drink it. I'm okay with bees, but wasps and hornets are assholes and twats. They're little fuckers, aren't they? I think that's the only time you can get away with looking like you're doing kung fu really, really badly. But it is so embarrassing. I've done it a couple of times this week when I've been out in public and one's come near me, because I think colder weather they start going a little bit dumb and they don't realise actually what they're doing, and I think that's when they're more dangerous. And I'm like stood there like dancing about it. It's so embarrassing, especially when people are watching. It's like they will never understand the 8-year-old Becky Jane that got 3 wasps that flew into her trouser leg and stung her over 31 times up her leg. So that's the reason why I don't like things that sting. So we talked about self-care and TLC. Lemon and vinegar are great for taking the sting out if you ever do get stung. Lavender is often combined with coursing? What's that? With its coursing. What's that? Here, rosemary. Huh? I'm sounding really dumb here, but please explain. Another one is to give yourself some grace and be gentle with yourselves. So if you do really struggle on cousin, lavender is often combined with its cousin here, rosemary. Yes, the two do go together. I actually have a list before I took Desi's membership 5-day free challenge, by the way. If you haven't checked that out, it starts in 4 or 5 days I think it is. So go do it because it's free. That stuff people pay thousands for. Even if you have an idea and you don't know whether it'll work or not, go take the free course, because that will determine. And actually Desi's brain is amazing, because she is able to think of a membership out of absolutely anything. She's such an incredible innovator. So I never thought that what I do could work as a membership, but here I am. So it's worth doing. Take a chance on yourself and explore it. So yeah, when your days are you're really struggling with your days and you don't know what to do with yourselves, hi Simone, your routine's all gone to shit and you're just not looking forward to each day, then give yourself some TLC, give yourself some grace and be gentle with yourself. It's really common to start beating yourself up for not being able to do it. Absolutely, I can vouch for that. This is amazing. And so thank you. It's so easy to start beating yourself up because you didn't get to do the things that you had intended on doing, and instead maybe you've sat in and you've kept the curtains closed and you've not got dressed, or you've not brushed your hair, you've not eaten well, and you've just not done the things that you wanted to get done. And it's so easy to be so disappointed with yourself and feel so deflated. But actually, seasonal affective disorder is a thing, and it is really tough, especially when you don't know how to help yourself through it. And you don't have anybody to suggest these things to because you don't know what you don't know. So that was the point of the live, that actually winter is rolling in a lot faster than I'd want it to. And it's like today was a huge wake-up call. If any of you saw my status this morning that said that when the cold weather hits and it's windy, I almost turn into a human barometer. I can guarantee that I can predict what the weather's going to be like because I get migraines from really windy cold weather. It's almost like, you know, when you drink a cold drink too fast and you get brain freeze. That's what happens with me. Now, I used to joke about it when I was younger and say it was because the wind was blowing straight between my ears because there was no brain in there. But actually it's the pressure. I have a diagnosis of Raynaud's disease, which is an autoimmune condition, which means in cold weather my blood vessels constrict, and part of it is tied up with them. When there's air pressure drops or if it increases, it affects, say, I get headaches or I start feeling dizzy, almost like vertigo. So absolutely, if there are times where you're just beating yourself up for having a tough day, then just give yourself some grace. Have a look at the way you're talking to yourself, and always keep it in your mind, if this was your best friend, the person you love the most in the world, would you speak to them the way that you're speaking to yourself? Because if you wouldn't, you need to flip the script on that and start thinking positive and think, okay, today hasn't been a great day and it's okay, I can give myself this day, and I know tomorrow that I could try something that will boost my mood. Find something to be grateful for in your day, even if it's been a tough day. Look for things that are positive, because as I said earlier, sometimes the stuff we're saying to ourselves, the meaning we're attaching to it and the belief, our emotions mirror that. So if we're down on ourselves and feeling a bit of a failure, feeling like we haven't done enough, or that, you know, I should have done this or I should have done that, your emotions are going to mirror it. So if you actually look for the positive things, the things that make you feel good, almost instantly your emotions are going to mirror that. So that gratitude actually does work. Gratitude journals don't work for me because I'm just way too busy to... I do have self-care in place, it's just gratitude journaling is not something that fits in with my personality type, and it's about exploring the things that will work for you. Louis said, I actually plan those days once a month. Awesome. Where a day where I do jack all and just shut down and get to be lazy. Your body and mind needs it every so often. Absolutely. Heather says, yeah, my head's been banging all week because of the air pressure. Yeah, I got it this morning. It was horrible. And I literally only took the kids 5 minutes up the road to school and nursery, and I felt like crap when I got in, so I just didn't get dressed. So do you know what? I can give myself a day in my pyjamas. But like I say, I actually got dressed for you guys. I had no makeup on either. You wouldn't believe that. Another one I spoke about last week was having an accountability partner. So loads of people know that accountability partners and things are very, very common within the business world. But actually, did you know that accountability partners can be used for absolutely anything? So it doesn't mean that there's pressure piled on. It's not a race, it's not a game, it's not about who can do the most in one day. But it's about keeping each other motivated, it's about keeping each other's spirits up, encouraging one another, in the most beautiful way. So I mentioned last week that a few years ago when I was pregnant with Rory, so this will be about 3.5 years ago, I was in a space where I was really struggling, and it was winter, by the way, it was January. I hadn't got dressed for days, I hadn't been brushing my hair, I hadn't put my makeup on, the house had gone to shit. It was like, I was in a really crap space and I didn't like it. I didn't know how to get myself out of it, and that's partly the reason why we struggle, because we don't know how to bring ourselves out of it. We don't know the right way to go about it. So if we don't know, we stay in that space. And I mentioned that me and a friend, my friend was also pregnant at the same time. She was a couple of months ahead of me. And what we did was we set each other like really positive goals, only little small steps, such as when we'd got dressed, we would take a selfie and send it to each other, and we'd give each other a compliment. Or when we'd brushed our hair, we would take a selfie and send it to each other. And throughout the day, we would just take a moment to just take a selfie. And even though it didn't feel like pressure and it didn't feel like we had to outdo each other, it was that positive encouragement. It was that fact that she was there for me and encouraging me just as much as I was doing for her, and it was showing each other that TLC. And it's so beautiful that it doesn't have to be accountability in the way where you are like trying to outdo each other every time. It's also gives you that feeling that you're not on your own in it. Sometimes when we are in the pits and we're sat in that hole and we don't know how to get out, sometimes it's not about somebody reaching down to hold a hand to help you out of it. Sometimes it's just as helpful to have somebody who may climb down there and sit in it with you until you're both ready to climb out, and you know, one of you gives the leg up and you're both out at the same time. So it's about not feeling like you're on your own with it, and that somebody really understands how it feels and wants to help you, and vice versa. It's such a lovely thing to do. Another one is respecting your limits. So we as human beings want to get rid of negative emotions, we want to get ourselves out of negative situations, negative spaces, because we want to get rid of the things that just don't feel good. And it's almost like we put so much pressure and expectation on ourselves to do that is almost too much, because we set the bar so high. So like, say I had a really down day and didn't want to get out of bed, but was like, I really gotta, you know, and you do everything to prove to yourself that you can do it. Guess what happens? You get burnout, you get overwhelmed, and then you beat yourself up, or things start going wrong and you beat yourself up for it, or you start shaming yourself because you got it wrong. So it's about respecting your limits. It's about knowing that, okay, if you really don't feel like you can get outdoors, that's okay. It's knowing that that's okay too. It is beneficial and it is great, and you will reap the rewards of doing that. But it's about knowing if you really can't cope with that at that moment, that it's okay. You don't have to shame yourself for that. You can say to yourself, I don't think I can manage that today, but I can do something else that's just as productive. And being okay with the fact that you might not have got outdoors, and you can think to yourself, I might not have done it today, but tomorrow's another day, tomorrow is another opportunity to give it a go. But always make sure that you are willing to try these things rather than sitting in a hole. Your diet is another one, so eating really well. There's loads of foods, I can't reel them off because I'm not a nutritionalist, but if you are eating well, the largest part of serotonin is created in your gut, and then it's sent up to your brain, where it's created into those neurotransmitters that help us feel balanced. So if we're not eating, even if we don't feel like eating, I'll share something with you that was actually quite funny. I was so surprised that a professional actually advised it. When I was going through a really tough relapse with the OCD back in 2018, he'd asked how well I was eating, when was the last meal that I had. He'd noticed that I'd lost quite a lot of weight. Well, it's kind of understandable. I was riding off extreme levels of anxiety constantly. So I did lose a lot of weight. Anxiety makes me, I don't know about you guys, but it makes me feel sick. It makes me feel really nauseous. And the last thing you want to do is eat when you feel like you're going to vom. So I wasn't eating, and he actually sat there and he said, please start eating. That was the first thing he said. The first bit of advice he gave me was to start eating, and he said it really doesn't matter what it is that you're eating, even if it's just a handful of jelly babies a day. If that's what it's got to be, that's what it's got to be. So long as you're putting something in your system, because something is better than nothing. And if you are getting into the habit of not really eating, and you've passed that stage of feeling really hungry, so where even the smell of cooking foods turns your stomach, then start off small. And this is something I always advise to my clients as well when they're in a really tough space and they've not been eating well, is I advise them to start off with, say, milkshakes, and build that up to cuppa soups or clear soups, you know, that come from the packet, where they're really easy to make. So you look at the foods. If you're really struggling to cook full meals, you have a look at the stuff that's easy to do but is going to give you that nutrition as well. Utilise slow cookers. Slow cookers are great. If you can cook a stew or a casserole, you can even cook lasagnas in slows. Like, they're amazing. You can cook absolutely everything in them. Stews can last about 3 days when you cook it from scratch. So you can have stew on day 1, you can have stew on day 2, whack it in the fridge, put it in the freezer. You'd be surprised at how many days meals you can get out of that. But if you really don't feel like you can eat and you haven't got an appetite, then my advice is always to start off small. If cooking smells really bother you, you can try cold foods. And I only know that because having 4 children, I've gone through morning sickness 4 times and it's horrible. So cooking smells used to be really tough. So I used to have to cook and let my food go cold, and I used to have to eat it cold, because even the smell, like the steam and stuff coming off my meals, would turn my stomach and I couldn't face it. So start off with milkshakes or protein, you know, the Weetabix milkshakes that you can get hold of now, where it's like breakfast on the go. You can try them. There's also some really good nutritional milkshakes out there, like Complan. Depends on what your taste buds are like, but I think Complan is absolutely vile, and I absolutely struggle to drink that stuff. It's rank. But definitely cuppa soups, stuff like noodles, clear soups. Utilise a slow cooker. They're not expensive to get hold of, and veg now is pretty cheap. Morrison's do a bag of carrots for like 25p. It's really easy. You can get a 6 litre slow cooker for like 25-30 quid. So they don't really it doesn't have to be expensive to take care of your tummy and make sure you're eating well. So that's always another really big important one to help you through seasonal affective disorder as well. So all of these combined, you'll be surprised how easy it'll be to implement these the more that you start doing them, because you'll start noticing that they are boosting your mood and you'll want to do more of them, and you'll actually find the winter passes pretty quick. Louis says serotonin and dopamine feel good hormones. I know. So the dopamine hit that if I'm feeling really crappy on a morning and I've not slept well, because I feel that too, where I just like, I don't want to get out of bed, but I've got to because there's a school run, and my other half doesn't know how to brush my daughter's. He knows how to brush my daughter's hair, he just doesn't know how to style it and stuff. So I am up from, say, 7:45 Monday to Friday, and most of the time I'm not hitting the hay until about 1:30. So I know I'm not getting good quality sleep, and I need to do something about that. Or rather, I want to do something about that so I can feel more refreshed. So my feel-good dopamine hit is to put a specific song on my Alexa, and that kind of boosts me up, ready to get the housework done, have a cup of coffee, and I feel epic afterwards. And I'll share the song. It's Send Me On My Way by Rusted Root, and if those of you have watched Matilda, it is the scene from Matilda where she's cooking the pancakes. I absolutely love it. It cheers me up. It's just one of those feel-good songs. In the summer, I like to listen to stuff like Dario G, stuff that just feels really positive, that you want to dance about while you're washing the pots or doing the vacuuming, where you want to dance around. So they're really good for a dopamine hit. Other ones that we do, it's funny. I'm really sorry if it offends. Well, actually, I'm not sorry. We are a family that laugh at fart noises because we constantly ask Alexa to play them, and she has a whole host of very descriptive fart noises, and it's hilarious. So sometimes if you're feeling quite blue, find something that you just can laugh, like proper belly laugh at. I don't mean a chuckle, the ones that actually gets your tummy hurting. Ask Alexa to play fart noises. Honestly, if you find that stuff funny, do it. You'll be howling, and it's that dopamine, it's that feel good. You get dopamine, you get oxytocin, you get endorphins, you get all of it. Honestly, try it. Even if you think, oh, why would I laugh at that? Do it, because it's just her descriptions are hilarious. Louis says, if you want a winter's dessert that's healthy and tasty, or a wintry dessert that's healthy and tasty, try melted dark chocolate on fresh strawberries and freeze them. Oh, that sounds good. I make Black Forest chocolate pots, so I make chocolate ganache from scratch. Really sickly, but they're lovely. That reminds me, I've got some puddings being delivered tomorrow. I'll tell you more about that if you're in the area where I live. I need to share that because it's epic. Carrots in hummus, really nice comfort food. I love hummus. There's only me in the house that likes it, so I'm constantly buying it because I get the full pot. I also like liver pate, which is really good for iron. So if you're low on your iron as well, it's always worth getting those checked out and supplementing your iron too, because low iron will contribute to feeling fatigued. But I love hummus. Music is amazing. I love Hall of Fame and Believer. So if I'm right in thinking, Hall of Fame is by The Script and Believer is by Imagine Dragons. I love both bands. Imagine Dragons probably more so. But I like, which one is it? Goes on about adrenaline in my veins. I can't think of the song. I ain't gonna sing it because I can't sing and nobody needs to hear me talking about that one. Correct. Yay! I like my music. As you can tell, we have Alexa and I've got Amazon Music on my phone, so I literally don't go anywhere without music on. I think music can be incredible for really influencing the mood and the space that you want to be in. Paranormal. What's paranormal? Oh, the song. I really want to test it and see if I've got it right now but the Alexa isn't downstairs, she's upstairs. So I was cleaning the kids' bedrooms yesterday, so we had the Alexa blasting out. But yeah, music is great for channeling emotions, or if you want to feel a certain way, you can put absolutely anything on and it will instantly flip that mood, which is why I often say to somebody if they're going through a tough breakup, or Warrior actually. Well, that fits, doesn't it? That was a given. Which is why, like, when people that I know are really in a tough space, or they're going through a breakup, or, you know, they've had a lot of stress, and they're there listening to sad music, I'm like, get this off and get something really upbeat on, because that's going to help boost your mood. If you're listening to sad songs, guess what's going to happen? You're going to feel sad. So if you want a different emotion to what you're feeling, get the opposite music on. So don't listen to sad songs because you feel sad. If you want to work through that, put something upbeat on. Allow yourself to feel the sadness, absolutely. Emotions are there for a reason, and they're healthy to feel every single emotion. They're not negative nor positive. You can experience emotions, but if you want to move through it and you want to start feeling more upbeat and positive, get some upbeat and positive music on. My favourite band, I would say, when I'm feeling really motivated and kind of epic and want to get shit done, is probably The Prodigy. If you saw my post last Thursday, I was listening to The Prodigy, and I used to cycle 20 miles a day to work, so it was 10.5 miles there, then I'd go and do an 8-hour shift, and 10.5 miles back, I would have something to eat, and then I would go out on another bike ride afterwards for about 5 miles. So I was doing about 25 miles a day. just cycling, and I would always have Prodigy playing, and I would listen to Their Law, which is all of their singles. If I'm feeling in a rebellious mood, like proper badass mood, I will listen to stuff like Marilyn Manson, Pantera, Limp Bizkit, Stone Sour, Slipknot. I will have all of those on because that's where my mood is at that moment. That's what's speaking to that side of my personality. So actually I'm really eclectic. So music is great. So back to the seasonal affective disorder as well. So if you're feeling in a really down space, have a look at what music you can listen to that boosts that up. If you're feeling really unmotivated on the mornings because it's dark, have a look what music you can get playing that helps raise that motivation and that feeling good. Absolutely coffee, by the way, but coffee first. Coffee is a must. But there's so many things that you can do to help yourself through it. You don't have to sit in that space. You're insane, woman, but I love you. Why am I insane? That's very judgmental, Heather. Why am I insane? Music just isn't music. It speaks. Music speaks to so many different parts of your being. That's why I am eclectic with my music taste. So I think music is a great way to channel. I've actually advised one of the clients tonight. He likes to produce music. I'm not sure if he's still on actually. He likes to produce music, and it's great for him because I gave him the suggestion that he could channel his experiences with OCD into that music, and people who listen to it will, but you're a good kind of crazy. I kind of resent that too. I'm not crazy. I'm just annoyingly positive. I ain't always like it, by the way. I do have my tough days too. I can assure you the most educated people in the world, even if they would never admit it, have said Alexa or Google, if you go for the cheaper version like me, what does a fart sound like? And it gets funnier every single time. 25 miles a day on a bike. I had no choice because it was work. Gosh, that was back when I was 18. Feels like a lifetime ago. It's making me feel old. So yeah, that was a lot of years ago that I did that. I was a lot fitter, a lot healthier. Obviously didn't have the children at that point. Ashley actually came a year later. And I was actually quite the introvert, so I didn't go out on the weekends like all my workmates did. I didn't go on holidays. I still lived with my parents, so life was actually pretty boring. So the only kind of excitement I had was push biking and listening to the Prodigy, which sounds really, really sad now, come to think of it, and quite pathetic. That actually I didn't do a lot of the things that people of my own age group did, but that's due to having to grow up pretty fast because of my childhood experiences. So I was a lot maturer for my age at that point than everybody in my own age group. I'm crazy too. By crazy I mean I don't fit the mould. Exactly. That's a great way to put it. We don't fit the mould. I think I actually broke the mould with me. I think I was created with all the leftover parts from everybody else. Yeah, true. No choice, but still madness. Oh well. But quick recap, if you struggle with the winter blues, the winter blah blahs, whatever you want to call them, you don't have to say I'm depressed or I'm sad or I can't do this, because when you do that you're owning it. You don't have to own that stuff, but you can absolutely say it doesn't feel good, it's an experience and I can do stuff to help myself through it that will help me feel better. And when you're changing the way you're speaking to yourself and you're not taking ownership of those emotions, but you're observing them and seeing, you're exploring and giving yourself an opportunity to explore on how you can help yourself through. So quick recap is ecotherapy. Please Google it, guys, because it doesn't sound as complicated as it seems. So I always say nature nurtures. It's a great way to get out of your head, back into your body. Exercises always. That's why you hear when doctors and therapists and psychiatrists, psychologists always say, how much exercise are you doing? How much are you getting outside? Because really, it really does help. People think it's the most boring of self-care activities that you can do, but actually it's the most beneficial and it's free. So you might as well do it. When Isabella was 2, when I was first struggling with the OCD, we went outdoors quite a lot. We would do, if you have children, this is a great idea by the way, if you struggle to go out. We used to do tree rubbings, so we used to take paper and wax crayons and do tree rubbings, and we'd stick them up in the house, or we would go and collect all the different colour leaves. So we would think of what colour we wanted to spot, a bit like I Spy, and we'd say, can we find this colour leaf? And we would go and collect them. We would go running through leaves and making a mess, which, you know, everybody finds it annoying when your kids are kind of running through piles of leaves that you've just swept up. So we used to do that, and then with the leaves that we collected, we used to do leaf printing with paint, and we used to put the pictures up around the house. In fact, across my kitchen I used to have wool hung from the ceiling, and I used to use clothes pegs to hang up all of her paintings, and the kitchen was constantly full of paintings. We used to make leaf garlands with string, so we used to thread leaves onto string, and we used to hang them up around the house. When it got to Halloween, we'd hang them up on the porch. We went conker picking. We would make conker snakes, so we would thread them onto shoelaces, we would paint them, and she would use that as a snake. In fact, I reminded her of that today, and I said, can you remember when we went conker picking and we painted up your conker snake? And she was adamant. She was taking that thing to nursery every single day, and she absolutely adored it. So if you struggle to get yourself motivated to get out into nature, then if you have got children, or you've got a pet, or you have a friend, you know, you can still socially distance, by the way. You know, meet up somewhere, you know, have a look at what's in your area. If there's, you know, there's the Couch to 5K as well. Have a look at Whatever It Takes. That's the one. Bex, I think the song you were talking about from Imagine Dragons is called Whatever It Takes. Yes, that is my jam. I actually listened to that religiously last year when I launched the OCD Warrior clothing range, which, by the way, is having a bit of a revamp, so please watch out for that one. Yes, it's that one. I want to listen to it now. I love that track. That one is almost like, if I could be a song personified, it probably would be that one. So yeah, if you struggle to hold yourself accountable for getting out, there's the idea of the accountability partner to do that, or you can socially distance and you can have a look at what's in your area. You can do the Couch to 5K, where you just, like, there's loads of apps where it can calculate your steps, it can map out where you've been. Have a look at what's in your area that's of interest. Is the churches, is the like monuments that you want to go visit, that you want to take pictures of. Create a, you know, the Winter Blues album where you just go around, you take pictures. Have a look at, it's just one that's come to me, you know, it's crazy where all these ideas come from. Have a look at the A to Z of Winter Blues. So go out and for every letter of the alphabet, collect as many photos on your phone on a camera as you can. So when you start with the letter A, get outside and think, wrap up warm and think, right, what can I take a photo of that begins with an A? Sorry, I keep interrupting your flow. It's alright, I interrupt my own flow half the time, so you're good. Have a look at all the things that you can think of and photograph that begins with A, and then move on to B. Get them printed off somewhere, or save them in an album in your phone, and, you know, use that as a motivator to getting you out. It doesn't have to be boring. Use your if you can use a little bit of creativity, you can actually create something that is really interesting for you to go out for, rather than it being just for a walk, because you'll get bored quickly. You'll probably walk around the block, you'll come back in and you'll sit down and you'll probably stay there for the rest of the day. So make it interesting, make it something that fits in with your personality, that fits in with your interests, something that you can keep up with and stay consistent with. And that's really important with pretty much everything when you're changing habits and unhelpful things that you're doing that you want to change, it's really important that we pick the things that we can stick to. So if I was to say to you guys, take up crochet, take up knitting, it's really therapeutic, it's really mindful, and I love it. It puts me in a really meditative state. I can't expect any of you guys to take that up because it's not going to fit in with your interests. So if you decide to start taking up hobbies and interests that other people have suggested, but it doesn't fit in with your personality style, doesn't fit in with your interests, it's going to be really difficult to start implementing that as a habit because it will be really short-lived. And that's sometimes why you find when you move from one project to another, it's because it's not fitting in with your values, who you're about, what you want. So it's got to be something that means something to you. So look at your habits, have a look at those comfort kits, treat yourself to a nice dressing gown, snuggle blanket, hat, socks, slippers, whatever it is, hot water bottle. You can get those wheat bags that have lavender. Granted, they don't smell of lavender after the first few tries, but you can buy essential oils, pop a few drops on it, boom, it smells of lavender again. Have your look forward to activities. So if you know at a certain time in the day you start feeling low because it's getting darker and you're in that really crap space, have an activity plan that you can start looking forward to. So instead of sitting there thinking, it's getting closer to that time, I'm going to start feeling crap, remember what I said, your energy goes where your attention's flowing. So your emotions all mirror that. So if you said to yourself, oh, I can't wait until 6 o'clock, can't wait until 8 o'clock because that's on and or I get to do that. Almost like when we watch soap operas, when we get excited for the time that it's coming on, we feel positive, we look forward to it. That's the same as having some look forward to activities. That doesn't just mean soaps, by the way. But do things that you enjoy doing and have them for a specific time in the day. At the moment that you start realising it's getting darker and you think, I'm going to feel shit for the rest of the night. So make sure you have that. Have a look at what things are going on online. If there's Zoom groups, there's loads of YouTube things for hobbies, for activities. Use the opportunity to learn a new skill or something that you may have been putting off and think, actually, I'm going to do that. Is there a project that's half finished? Everybody's got them, them round to it jobs where they've started something and not completed it. That's a good time to get all of those out and finish those projects because the sense of achievement and accomplishment at the end of that is so rewarding, and it does really help you to feel good that you actually managed to see it through. Again, good self-care. Give yourself some grace, know your limits and don't put too many expectations on yourself, and please make sure you're eating well. So, Louis says, Heather says she gets it all the time with me, haha, real life bestie, I'm a bugger for getting her on tangents. Yes, you are. Naughty. Louis, I love this idea, I'm definitely going to try it, although I never get bored walking by the sea. I love the sea. The sea is so therapeutic for me. For me, it's martial arts and dancing like no one's watching. It puts me in the flow and lose sense of time. Exactly, because it's about getting out of your head and getting back into your body, and that's absolutely what it is. So, Tony Robbins, I shared it last week. The one phrase that's always stuck with me from Tony Robbins, because I did go through a phase of binge watching all of his stuff, and I actually had a look at how much he charges for a breakthrough session. I was like, what? It's like 300 grand, and I'm like, talk about placing value on yourself. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. But one of his phrases that have always stuck with me: if you want to change your state, you've got to move about, because when you move about, your actual physiology inside, all the chemicals and everything, all your muscle groups, it all shifts, it changes, and actually it helps. That's why when I say when you're procrastinating, when you're being a bit of a when you're feeling a bit of a couch potato, not that I'm saying anybody is one, but when you're feeling in that space, that's why you end up feeling more tired, because you're not getting up and you're not using your muscles. It's almost like you seize up. So, as Louis said, dance like there's no one watching. I dance regardless of whether anybody's watching or not. People watch my TikTok. You only have to go on my TikTok to see that. Like, Half the time I can't dance, but I don't give a shit. I'm having fun, and that's all that matters. So don't ever worry about the judgment from other people and opinions, because they aren't you, and you're doing what's important for you, and you're showing yourself love and care and looking after yourself and doing the things that you like to do. So yeah, I saw the bend and snap too. Yeah, I'm getting into gardening now. That's my unfinished project. Awesome! I love gardening, but mine never got finished either. So that's probably something for me to look into as well. Because even though I share this stuff with you guys every single live and I share all these strategies, I'm doing them too. I'm doing them with you guys because I ain't perfect, and you don't want to be striving for perfect, because perfect doesn't even exist. It's as good as. If you actually have a look in the dictionary at what the definition of perfect is, it means as close to or as good as. When we strive for perfection and we think we've reached it, there's always another level, and always another level, and always another level. And it doesn't work. It's too much expectation on yourself. So strive for imperfection, strive for loving who you are, strive for knowing that imperfection is just as amazing, if not more so, and just love who you are. But yeah, all the strategies and stuff that I share, I aren't perfect. I do them with you. When I'm talking about them, I think, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. I'm sat here saying to you guys, try this, try that, and even I forget, because nobody's perfect. And actually, by talking to you guys and sharing, you guys actually remind me that I may have let the ball drop with some things, and that actually I need to re-implement. So I'm doing this along with you guys too, and that's what it's about. It's not about me saying to you, I've done all this thing and I'm fine now, I love life, I love me. No, because I have my shit days too. Yeah, Tony increases his prices 4 years ago. It used to be 75k for 1 hour. But 300k for an hour is like, what? That's just like crazy. Couldn't agree more about perfection. Imperfect action beats perfect inaction every time. Oh, thank you. Love you guys too. But yeah, I go through it too. And that's what's relatable. It takes the pressure off you guys, because those of you that watch me and think, I want to be like that, she's always got shit together, she always looks decent, she always, knows all the right things to say, she's a great support, she understands, she knows all this stuff about OCD, which is true, because that's what I do. But actually, I'm just like you guys, because life is a journey and it has ups and downs. And if anybody is familiar with Jay Shetty, one of his analogies that he used that also really stuck with me was, when you see somebody's heartbeat trace on a monitor, or when it's going on that on the graph, the ECG, that's your heartbeat. So that's literally your life, but it is literally your lifeline, because it goes up and it goes down, and it goes right up and it goes a little bit down, and then it goes up a little bit and then right down. That's literally what life does. Life is not supposed to be one constant ride of happiness and contentment. It dips, we have road bumps, we get lost, we need to take a breather, we have to take a detour, we hit a dead end. But life's also like a sat-nav. It will reroute if you allow it to. So if you stay on a path, and I love analogies, those that know me well enough knows I love to use amazing analogies that you can relate to. If you think of a sat-nav and you go the wrong way, what happens? It reroutes it every time. It finds a different way around, and that's what it's about when you go through life and you're experiencing the ups and downs and the roller coaster of life. Is if you hit a bump in the road, if you get lost, if you need a detour, if you hit a dead end, it'll reroute itself. Give yourself a chance to reroute and think, right, that didn't work, what else can I try? Instead of thinking, that didn't work, so I'm just going to give up. That's not finding a solution. It's about having the confidence to go out there and think, right, that didn't work, what can I try next? Because a fail isn't a fail. It's just an opportunity to find a different solution. It's an opportunity to learn from that and think that didn't work, so what can I try next? It's about being curious, going out there and trying what you can until something fits, something grabs hold in all of the right ways, and you can run with it and you can implement it in your life. So yeah, fair enough. I know guys that crochet, by the way. I'm in an amazing crochet group, and there's loads of guys in there that do it. It's epic, because it's always considered a women's hobby, and it was always considered an older lady's hobby, but actually it's really therapeutic. And you know, it's like, you could try out crochet and it won't fit, but what if it does? And it's like, okay, I tried crochet, I gave myself a chance, it doesn't really work for me, it's not for me, what else can I try? It didn't work for me, so I'm destined never to find anything that works for me. No, it's about going out there and finding the ones that do, because there is limitless different opportunities, different things that you can try. Heather said, yeah, the only time it's flat is when you're dead. Exactly, the best. You need to kick my booty tomorrow, Mrs. I have a goal, hold me to it, please. I will absolutely kick your bum. So don't expect a straight perfect road, just get comfortable with the uncomfortable and expect bumps and be okay with it. Spot on, and be a sat nav, it reroutes. I tried crochet, I did a scarf and a sweater. The sweater didn't quite turn out right. Well, you're further on than me, because I've only ever made this very strange giraffe. No, it's not a giraffe, it's a zebra. It doesn't, I thought it was down here in the top of the toy box, but it's not. I've made a very strange looking zebra, and I made a baby blanket, and that's about it. That's all I've managed to create, and I actually made the baby blanket to get me through the winter months whilst I was pregnant with Ivor, and I think I finished it about a week before he was due, so it got me through that. So also, when you're looking for a project or those look forward to activities, have a look at the ones that can be spread out. So ones that can be maintained each day or each week. Something that will, it's not just something you do one night and then that's it, you've finished it. It's about having that one thing to look for, like your soaps, or you have the 3D diamond painting. I adore those. There's cross stitch, there's painting. Even if you can't paint, it doesn't matter, you're just painting some paper. It's therapeutic. You'd be surprised what people pay money for, by the way. I was actually interested in, I wasn't going to do it, by the way, body painting, like the body art, where they literally just get naked and lie on a piece of paper. You know, that seems so fun. I'm not going to do it, by the way. I don't think anybody wants to see that either, but it looks fun. So it's about thinking outside the box too, and just giving everything a go, something that you can spread out throughout those winter months. There's another one, so there's stuff like profanity peaks, so just getting a pen, and you'll be surprised how therapeutic a profanity peak is, or a profanity page. It's literally where you just write down as many swear words as you can think of, and you'll be surprised how funny it is and how therapeutic. And if you're angry about something or you're stressed about something, you take it out on the paper and write as many swear words. There was one we had to do in a group exercise where we had to think of all of the slang words for male and female genitals and stuff, and it was just so hilarious that actually it was a really good stress buster too. So just having these little bits and pieces that can just instantly help that mood, go for it. You know, nobody, if you don't want to tell people what that habit is because you think, you know, people will either take the piss or they'll laugh at you, so be it. If it's helping you to feel good, who gives a crap? If you feel good for doing it, then carry on. Drew says, hi Bex, I'm thinking about trying this. Instead of hating the thoughts I'm getting, start loving them instead. But then that seems like it poses the risk of actual suicidal ideation, intentionally thinking those thoughts. I don't know. Okay, so thoughts are not an enemy, and our brains are not the villain. OCD is not a villain, it's just an experience. So with OCD, It's not the thoughts that are actually the problem, it's how we're labelling them, it's the importance and the meaning and the belief that we're actually attaching to them that becomes the issue. So actually it's an emotional problem or emotional challenge. So you're absolutely right in thinking you get comfortable with the fact they do make you feel uncomfortable, but actually they're a thought that's just doing its own thing. You don't kind of have to get tangled up with what they mean. So treat them as though, you guys will relate with this one. You know, if you get one of those really annoying loud flies in your room when you're trying to sleep and it's buzzing about, just imagine that that's a thought, that it's there, we can notice it, it's buzzing about, it is quite annoying, but that fly isn't actually doing anything wrong apart from annoying us. It's actually pretty innocent. It's just flying around and making noise because that's what it does. But actually the annoyance is with us. That's how we feel about it is our responsibility. So you can see a thought as a buzzy fly that those flies, honestly, they are really annoying though, aren't they? And it's like, fuck off, I'm trying to sleep. But that fly hasn't done anything wrong. And neither has the thoughts that are cropping up for you, Drew. So you can absolutely stop feeling like the OCD is a villain and start just treating it like a buzzy fly, or that kind of overprotective best friend that wants to save you from everything. So it keeps throwing, but what if, but what if, but what if? It's like, for God's sake, go away. You know, I'm safe, I'm fine. And that's absolutely the kind of response that you need to give them, and you can work on that, and you've been doing absolutely fantastically well over the last few days, and I'm really proud of the progress that you're making, and even though this feels like it's a little bump in the road, we can work through it. So I will message you personally after this live and we can work through that. Louis says, yeah, it looks hard, but actually even harder than you expect. But it's fun, especially for my kids who piss themselves when they saw it. I think I did too. That's not hard though, because I've had 4 children, so it's a given. Those flies, honestly. Becky, please send me a message for what you just said, please. Honest, that just changed the way I was thinking. I hope in a good way, Drew. Oh God, you never met Gazaiton flies from Gozo. They're the most annoying on the planet. Oh God, please no. I can't be doing with it. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up because I've actually been on an hour and 15 minutes. That's longer than usual. Oh, you guys are epic though. It's been an incredible chat. I hope some of the suggestions I've made has got you thinking outside of the box and has got you thinking about what you can have in place, because it's already getting darker. It's only going to get even colder and darker on a morning and quicker on an evening because the clocks go back at the end of next month as well. And then we're going to be heading to Christmas season, and even that is filling me with anxiety because it's not going to be the same while we're in a pandemic, and that whole Christmas market, the shopping experience, all that kind of stuff, it's going to be so different this year. So I will be using some of these strategies myself. I am going to pop up a post. I'll pop the link into the comments afterwards so that you can either write it down, screenshot it and build on it and use that as your own winter blues toolkit to get you through. So there are lots of points on there. Watch the replay, there's loads of really helpful suggestions. Louise dropped some absolute amazing nuggets in there, and it's just been an epic live. It's been so funny and lovely, so I absolutely adore you all for tuning in to another episode of Becflix. Next week I'm not sure what character is going to be here, but I have an idea in mind. So look forward to that one. If you have a topic you want me to cover, just drop it in the comments and that's what we'll talk about. So enjoy your weekend, guys, and I will see you soon.